Get some Nivea in your life, you will feel very satisfied. Hello, and welcome. So I recently did a video called Charity Shop Vinyl Bargains, where I showed all of the records which I'd gotten around all of the charity shops from, roughly speaking, the last 5-6 months. So this video today is sort of like the flip side of that coin, if you will. It's all of the records which I've attained from like proper record shops and dealerships, you know, boutique stores, independent shops, HMV, retro stores, you name it. I'm only going to be covering the records which haven't been shown on the channel so far, because there's a few that I've shown in recent videos. So the first record of the day is the Scissor Sisters with their debut album, self-titled. This came out in 2004. These guys were an American band from New York, I think, but they found a lot of success here in the UK, and this album was really big at the time. I think it sold about 1 million copies here in the UK. But the nice thing with this is that I remember getting this record for my 5th birthday, which would have been right at the very end, December 2004. And the funny thing with this is that I bought this in December of 2025. So pretty much exactly 20 years on from originally getting the CD version. It's nice to kind of get it almost exactly 20 years after getting it originally. So this has been pressed on vinyl quite a few times. It did go out of print up until recently. I paid a bit more than what I would like to pay for this. It was very expensive, but I thought, you know, really there's kind of no other way to get it, so I had to kind of fork out a bit. But the vinyl is a nice colour. It's I don't know how well it shows, but it's a nice sort of dark green. I remember someone I know having like dinner plates that were made of plastic or something, which were kind of reminiscent of this. Little photograph of the band there, and they're a very fun band. They were inspired by a lot of classic rock from the 70s and a lot of glam rock, and but also the dance scene. You know, a lot of the dance music of New York of the 90s, and also kind of electro clash kind of thing that was going on around that time. So yeah, a wonderful debut album there, and beautiful pressing, I gotta say, really nice. I've had this up on my wall for a while now, because this artwork really does deserve it, and it's on nice thick cardstock as well, and that's something that I feel a lot of new pressings are kind of lacking. You know, the actual cardstock that they make the sleeve out of just seems to be getting thinner and thinner. So the next record I got was a purchase from Olaf's record shop, and it is How Dare You by 10cc. I think this might actually be my favourite 10cc album from the original run of 10cc albums. This one just feels the most polished, and I think it's got some of my favourite songs on it. There's a song on here called Iceberg, which is like a really messed up version of the Frasier theme tune. Not literally, but it sounds like it. It's got that kind of jazz swing kind of sound about it. And it's got kind of tongue-in-cheek lyrics, which are kind of like messed up and a bit dodgy. This next record I got back in January. I filmed a vlog when I got this one. It was Fleetwood Mac with their self-titled album. I bought this when I was filming a vlog, which is up on the channel, with my friend Matthew. He bought a Ringo Starr album for £30, and I bought this. This was £23. This was from Fop in London, Covent Garden, which is kind of just like HMV, really. Same prices, same deals. Got a bit more range than most HMV stores, I'd say. But yeah, this comes on quite a nice coloured vinyl as well. This is a nice ruby red coloured vinyl. And you have the Reprise record label in the middle there, which I really like. I do like this colour. I like the combination of the sort of orangey yellow label with the red vinyl. Is sort of something that you'd see a sort of sophisticated cheese and wine orgy, perhaps. Nice combination. And then I also like the combination of that with the sort of magnolia sort of cream that you get on the main album cover. So this was the first album they did with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. I always felt that those two should kind of swap names, because Lindsey sort of sounds like a bird and you know, Stevie sounds like a guy. Next record is one that I just bought this morning, and it is the Sugababes with Angels with Dirty Faces. This is one of the albums from my childhood, I'd say. I remember my mum having this on CD, really liking it when I was little, and then kind of coming back to it on and off over the years. I suppose some of the music you hear when you're young really sticks with you, and I remember my mum having this and listening to it on one of those old CD Discman like Walkman, but it was a CD version. They never really worked, to be honest, the Discmans. But I still listen to this album a lot, and I really like it. This was where the Sugababes got really big, I think, especially here in the UK. They started out as like a teen pop girl group, really, and then they lost one of their original members and replaced her with this girl here who's called Heidi, and put this record together. It's got really, really good production. I really like the beats and the synths and things, but really catchy pop songs. They got some good writers on board with this, and these girls really do pull it off. I like the dynamic of the three girls together. Sometimes they sing different bits, sometimes they sing in unison. Really good British pop music. So this album starts with Freak Like Me, which heavily samples Gary Newman, Our Friends Electric, but they do a really good flip of that song and create a whole new great song. I think Gary Newman himself was a big fan of it. He thought that they'd done a better vocal on it than he did. Other hits on here include Round Round. I think most people probably know that one. Also, Stronger is a very, very good single from this album. Almost a bit of a Massive Attack pastiche, almost. You could almost imagine that song being on, what's the album called? Mezzanine. With the really cool trip-hop beats and the strings. Also, the single Angels with Dirty Faces, which was... that was a really good single. That had the Powerpuff Girls in the music video. They sort of did a crossover with the Sugababes and the Powerpuff Girls. It was a really, really good music video. But yeah, virtually every song on this album is quite good. There's a track called Shape, which heavily samples Sting. Really cool track on there called Switch, which has got a good chorus and it's got a good hip-hop beat. Yeah, it's a good album. So this album never existed on vinyl. It's actually kind of strange how it does exist on vinyl, because I've never associated it with vinyl, It's one of those classic CD albums. But this came out last year. It was released... Oh, hang on, I've got it the wrong way around. It was released, I think, as part of National Album Week or something like that. First ever time on vinyl. This was £35 originally, which is too much. So HMV knocked off a tenner, and I went ahead and picked it up. Oh, I didn't show the vinyl colour, did I? Got some nice photographs there of the girls, and it's sort of a lemonade vinyl colour. Quite nice. I'm not sure if I would have opted to have a white vinyl cover for this, maybe. Again, same as the Scissor Sisters record. Nice thick card on this, which I'm a big fan of. So yeah, this album cover, it's a funny one because the background, the lake and the bench and the grass and everything, it really, really reminds me of this place I used to go when I was a little child. Same time I would listen to this, so it's really weird. I kind of associate it with it. It's just the exact same. It just looks just like it. Don't know if they actually took the photo there. I don't know. Just one of my local places to walk. Next up, I picked up a copy of the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Are You Experienced? Surprisingly, this is my first ever Jimi Hendrix album. I've got Smash Hits on vinyl from him, and I've got Electric Ladyland on CD as well, the nudity cover. They repressed the nudity cover. Polydor did that in the 80s for a CD version. But yeah, first ever Jimi Hendrix full-length album on vinyl. It's a 1979 French pressing, I believe. I got this from my local record shop, Rolling Records. But it would be quite cool to try a modern pressing of that as well, because there's a few different album covers for that album, so it would be quite cool to try a modern pressing with an alternative album cover as well. So it's quite interesting. It's got the Polydor label there. It looks like an injection mould one, but it's actually just a sticker. But yeah, you get the sort of plastic circle right in the middle. I've never seen that on a record before, just the having no label but having the actual plastic circle right in the middle. I brought that home and my brother kind of said, where are all the hits? There are no hits on this. And he realised that he'd been listening to the Spotify version of that all these years, where all the singles have been added on the end of it. And that's just the original album, which is much shorter. Next up, I picked up an album by the band Love. This is Electra Masters. This is a compilation of some of their work from the late 60s. I think it spreads over about 4 or 5 albums. So yeah, it was curated by a guy who writes an essay on the back here all about the band, all about Arthur Lee, the singer. Yeah, he chose what he believed to be like the 16 most essential tracks of love. And there are a lot of really, really good ones on here. You've got My Little Red Book, which I just love. Hey Joe, Orange Skies is a personal favourite. And then loads of the songs from their masterpiece album, Forever Changes as well. So it's nice to have. It was £15, I think. I quite like the artwork. It's got lots of little sort of designs on there, and then it's got another photograph of the band in front of that old ruin that was on the first two album covers. So yeah, really nice find. Compilation of some of the early Love stuff. Love are a fascinating group, really. We've been watching this great Glastonbury performance of Arthur Lee doing Forever Changes from the early 2000s. Yeah, they have a very, very distinct sound, you know. They were sort of like the main cash cow of Elektra Records in the late 60s. It was them and the Doors that were kind of the two big bands, I suppose. So next up, I got Cheap Thrills by Big Brother and the Holding Company. This was a really good deal. I got this from FOP as well when I was out with my friend Asa, and only £12 for this. Really nice. And at the time, loads of websites were selling this for like £35, so it felt like a massive bargain. So of course this was Janis Joplin, her band in the late 60s. It's a late 60s classic from 68, I think. Eminem sampled one of the songs on here for the song Rock Bottom. It was a replayed sample. I can't remember what track it was. I think it might have been Summertime, maybe. I just love the artwork on this. It's got sort of a comic book style artwork. And I think Janis Joplin really fought to have this put on the cover. They I think maybe it was controversial or something. They didn't want to have this as the main cover. Yeah, brilliant record. Sounds brilliant. And got it for a great price too. Can't complain. £12 for 180 gram record sealed. Now that is value. Next up, I picked up a record by Michael Murphy. This guy kind of looks like a young Willem Dafoe, you know? There's something very sort of creepy cult leader about him. I mean, look at those eyes, those striking eyes. The beard and hair combination, it really is quite a striking look. Essentially, this record is it's like a country and western version of the Rolling Stones. There's a track on here, Nobody's Gonna Tell Me How to Play My Music. And that's a song which I can relate to very much because there's some music group which I've been in who have really, really tried to compromise the way that I play and the way I play the drums. So I really, really connect with, somebody kind of rebelling against that. I did already show this on the channel, but it was months ago, so might as well show it now. The Aphex Twin with Selected Ambient Works Volume 2. This is a Japanese edition, although I'm fairly sure this is precisely the same as the European version, only they've put the Obi strip on it, because it's got the same barcode as the European version, but they just put a sticker on there covering it up, so it's probably the same thing, same manufacturing. But yeah, in here you have like 4 records in a single sleeve, but it's quite a thick sleeve. It comes with a few nice extras. You get like a big sheet with all the diagrams showing what all the songs are, because it doesn't directly tell you what all the songs are. You have to look at this sheet and then like decide which song it is. And also get this like exclusive Japanese sheet as well, which is part of the Japanese pressing only. And you also get some nice stickers in there as well, which is a nice touch. Next up, I picked up The Snow Goose by Camel, classic album from the 70s. I did pick up some Camel CDs from a charity shop earlier in the year, so it was nice to find this around the same time as that, one of their classic albums. Apparently this is a special price Decca limited edition version. I'm not sure what's limited about it. Don't quite understand I don't understand what's different about this version to other versions, but this was about £14, and because it was kept in a nice inner sleeve, it's just, the record is just absolutely crisp, perfect, perfect copy, glossy, shiny, one of those real kind of mint records, which is always a big luxury when you find those from the 70s, because a lot of records have just been trashed over the years by people. which is a good thing, really, because, you know, you want it to get used and, you know, someone to appreciate it, I suppose. But it's nice to find a real kind of preserved copy. This next one's absolutely beautiful. We have Caravan with In the Land of Grey and Pink. I was thinking about buying an original of this album for a long time, but all my local shops are selling it for like £90, you know, over £100 even sometimes, so it gets a bit expensive. It was originally on Decca Records, I think, but this is a reissue on the Klimt label, which I believe is a French record label, who reissue a lot of older records. But this record is absolutely gorgeous. The printing is just pristine. It's got a nice glossy finish to it. Yeah, wonderful. The gatefold's beautiful. They really have kind of recreated the idea of the grey and pink on the actual records themselves. You get these real nice sort of splatter designs. Sort of a splatter with dots kind of thing. Very nice looking pressing. This is one of the main albums of the Canterbury rock scene. Canterbury prog. This is kind of the album for that whole movement of the early 70s. Canterbury prog. This is kind of the one to go for, really. True classic album. The other record is the same thing again. Not sure if this wasn't a double record originally. I don't know. It might have been a single. I have a feeling it was. But yeah, I mean, I cannot complain with this. This is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful record. 25 quid that was in Olaf's record shop, which I buy quite a bit of stuff from. So the next record I picked up with my friend Matthew. We went into London. We did the shops in Soho. And then we went up to a place called Idle Moments, which is a wine shop. I think it's around the Hoxton area. You can get a bus there from London Bridge. And they essentially are a wine shop, but they have a selection of Japanese vinyl. Quite a random combination. You know, you've got wine all the way up the sides, and then right through the middle you have a wide range of Japanese vinyl. They sell a few UK, Europe pressings as well, but a lot of Japanese stuff. And essentially there's this company called Vinyl Delivery Service, which is a Japanese company who will import the records from Japan straight to this shop. And there's probably other places participating in this service, but absolutely brilliant, because you can get these wonderful Japanese pressings of all kinds of wonderful music. You know, a lot of Japanese music, but also Japanese pressings of you know, UK bands and whatnot. And it's actually quite cheap. It's not even that expensive. So I was contemplating a few records. I was basically judging these records on their artwork, you know, picking it up, putting it in a pile just based on how much I love the artwork, and then listening to the album on my phone and seeing if I liked it. And if I did like it, I was going to pick it up. So the record that I ended up going for was Long Vacation. This is a record from Ichi Hutaki, I believe. Sorry if I'm totally butchering that name. This is like a city pop album from the early 80s. I think about 1980, 1981. But I just thought the artwork was just sublime. Ah, man, what beautiful artwork this has. Of course, your Obi strip is wonderful as well. But yeah, this artwork just took my breath away when I first saw it. I thought, that is the kind of record I want to own. And I was expecting it to be some like electronic, maybe sort of vaporwave or something. But it's like a pop album, like a sort of cheesy pop album. The guy who did the artwork is a very famous artist. His work is like instantly recognisable. As soon as I showed it to my friend Asa, he was like, "That's that guy." I can't remember his name, but he's very famous. And essentially he got famous from doing this album cover. You know, this album came out, was probably quite big in Japan, and then he was just like bombarded with work because so many people loved his art style. So it was this album that launched his career. So yeah, I mean, it's a funny thing because I really like this record, and it's got a strong influence from Phil Spector, Wall of Sound. And that whole kind of Phil Spector pop thing. And another artist who I love who's very inspired by that is Roy Wood. Roy Wood with Wizard or Solo. He's really inspired by that sound as well. And when I listened to this, I just thought of Roy Wood and Wizard, which is just really funny because I love that stuff. And wasn't expecting this to sound like it. But the first track on here I don't know what it's called, but the opening track to this album sounds just like Wizard. It's like a Japanese version of it. It sounds like I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. So it was just it was a nice one of those kinds of moments of serendipity, you know, moments of two really nice things coming together, because I just adored the album cover. Wanted to buy it based on that, but obviously I wanted to like the music as well. Yeah, I happened to listen to the music on my phone, and I happened to think it was brilliant. And this was ranked by Rolling Stone in Japan as one of the greatest Japanese albums of all time. And it's, you know, I can't disagree with that. I think it's amazing. So yeah, I don't think this was ever issued in any, like, you know, Western countries. I think this is like a Japan-only release. So this would have been quite expensive to buy on the internet, you know, to import it and all the rest of it. So really glad to get it in that shop. I've had this on my wall for ages now. I just love it. And the whole album's really good, not just the first song. The next record I got was from Juno Records, and it is Good Kid Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. I wanted to make sure that I got this edition of the album and not the version with the alternative artwork where the eyes are covered up. Partly because this is an older pressing. I think this is a 2015 pressing or something, which is meant to sound quite a lot better than that one. But this is technically a deluxe edition. You get 3 bonus tracks with this. The Recipe, Black Boy Fly, and Now or Never. And Black Boy Fly is one that I really like in particular. I might be wrong, I haven't listened to it for a while, but I think it's a song about like other people who grew up in Compton, kind of on like the poor streets of Compton, I guess, becoming famous and making it in the rest of the world. And Kendrick Lamar didn't know that that would happen for him, but ultimately it did happen for him, and he became a very, very successful, famous rapper. But this is his masterpiece album, this and To Pimp a Butterfly, of course. They're the only 2 albums of his that I really, really like. And I think they're just absolutely fantastic. You know, Money Trees is brilliant. Backseat Freestyle is a personal favourite. The Art of Peer Pressure. Yeah, it's a classic hip-hop album. One of the greatest hip-hop albums ever, really. One of the greatest hip-hop concept albums as well, of course. So that was really an essential that I had to get for my collection, and I'm really glad that I finally did. So the next record I got was Fatboy Slim with Better Living Through Chemistry. It's got this HMV Obi strip on there. So this is Norman Cook's debut album as Fatboy Slim, and it's probably my personal favourite. The second one he did, You've Come a Long Way, Baby, was also great as well, but I kind of prefer this one in a weird way. It just feels and radiates the feeling of just being in the mid-90s, you know. It really captures a certain spirit of 90s dance, and this album has some of the most creative sampling I've heard, you know. He really does sort of reach for a wide selection of samples from all kinds of places, and this was back in the days when you had to actually really kind of dig through the crates and get your fingers dirty, and you know, nowadays everything's online. We all know thousands of samples and things like that. But back in those days, you had to actually go out to record shops or charity shops and just trawl through records just to try and find samples. The album cover was a reference to Blue Monday by New Order with the floppy disk. And also, a lot of his samples were stored on floppy disks in those days. You know, so it's really relevant to it. But yeah, it's got a bit of a steamy photograph on the back there, a bit naughty. The track listing for this vinyl is completely different from the digital track listing, but I don't think that really matters. I remember hearing tracks like Going Out of My Head and Santa Cruz as a child. Really good tracks. Also, the track The Weekend Starts Here was used in the very first episode of Spaced. So I always associate it with that. But this is just such a good mid-90s record, you know. I mean, it's a bit repetitive and, you know, it's not for everybody, but it's a record which I just enjoy, really. Might talk about it in more detail in the future. And it's got quite a posh vinyl. It's got a nice sort of quarters vinyl. This was reissued on BMG. This was originally on Skint Records, which was a record label in Brighton, which was... I think it's just his friend's record label kind of thing. Really nice one to have, and I may get You've Come a Long Way, Baby as well in the future. This next one is the very thing that the album cover of that album is referencing. Blue Monday by New Order, with the very iconic die-cut sleeve. So I've seen this record in record shops over and over and over again. They've always got original pressings of Blue Monday, and it's probably the best-selling 12-inch of all time. But every time I saw it, it was just trashed, you know, really destroyed condition, no point buying it. And they were charging like 12, 15 quid for it each time, and I just thought, you know, why would I want to pay that for a trashed record? So I went for the 180-gram reissue of it. And it's got a lot of punch, it's got a lot of dynamics, really good bass. It does the job. It does the job. And then maybe if I get lucky one day, I will find an original as well. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm perfectly satisfied with that for the iconic 12-inch Blue Monday there. Do love myself a bit of New Order. Next up, this was also in the vinyl vlog with Matthew. This is the Moody Blues. Picked this up from a retro store. So I think this does really cover the years of the Moody Blues that you really want, you know, the late 60s through to the early 70s, you know, that real golden period. And instead of coming up with an artwork for this, they just had all of their albums that they've released just in an order like that, as if you're kind of flicking through them on like the Stairway Up to Heaven or something. Yeah, beautiful artwork, love it, brilliant. Yeah, and you get all kinds of stuff on here, big old track listing, double record. The records were stored in polylined inner sleeves, so perfectly preserved from back in the day. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Beautiful big gatefold on here, all kinds of photographs of the band. Yeah, wonderful. That's my third Moody Blues record that I've picked up. Next up, I picked up a copy of Snap by The Jam. This is a beautiful, thick reissue of Snap. A relative gave me this album, an original pressing of it, but sadly, it was just so trashed. It wasn't even just a bit scratched up. It was just almost looked like it was deliberately like sabotaged. It was like so scratched. It was as if someone had like deliberately like sort of, you know, dug their nails into the grooves of the record. It was just ruined. So I had some money to spend at Olaf's. I had that voucher which I showed a few videos ago, and I got this with it. And it was quite an expensive record. It was like nearly £40, I think. Really expensive, quite a bit overpriced. But then again, you feel the quality of this, and you look at it and you think that kind of is worth it, you know. Obviously, it's more than I'd like to pay, but that it is just that price everywhere. You know, that's the expected price for it. And I couldn't find anything else in the shop, and I wanted to use up my voucher before it expired. I got an extra £10 voucher as well, which someone gave me, and that had expired, but because he's a very kind gentleman, he let me use it anyway, which was all right. That also came with a bonus 7-inch single, a live EP, which is nice. Next up, we have a bit of a comedy record, which I picked up over the Christmas period. Mr. Hankey with Christmas Classics. Matt Stone and Trey Parker just crack me up. I think they're just fantastic comedians. They I don't think they ever fail to just make me laugh, and it's quite cool to have a South Park vinyl. One of my favourite shows of all time, and this has got a lot of the classic songs from the early seasons. I think this came out in 1999 originally on CD, so it's got a lot of the jokey Christmas songs. You know, Mr. Hankey, the Christmas Poo, you know, it's hard to be a Jew on Christmas, Merry fucking Christmas. Yeah, it's a good album. It's a good kind of comedy one to spin around the Christmas period. Next up, I picked up a Eric Clapton compilation album, The History of Eric Clapton. This covers many years, and Eric Clapton being in many groups. So you got a bit of Cream, you got a bit of Derek and the Dominoes, just all kinds of stuff that the guy's done over the years, really. Very nice. Next up, I picked up a bunch of Depeche Mode albums. Bunch of Depeche Mode releases. I've got some of their main albums from the late 80s, but I wanted to kind of expand my collection a bit. So I got a copy of Some Great Reward. This is absolutely beautiful. The sleeve on this is just quality. It feels amazing. It's got such a lovely feel about it, and a thick record as well. So this was the record where they kind of broke out of like the original kind of pop sound of the band. Originally, Depeche Mode were kind of such a poppy sort of almost boy band type group. They were almost like sort of Please Please Me by the Beatles meets Kraftwerk, you know. But this is the record where they started to experiment with different electronics and more darker soundscapes, you know, a bit of sampling here and there as well. This is kind of the beginning of the more interesting period, really. And then jumping forward like 13 years from that, we have Ultra, which was a mid-90s album. and it's a really strong album. It's got absolutely brilliant production. It's got a real kind of, like, similar to the earlier albums, it's got a real kind of rusty, dark kind of cinematic sound. It's got such great sound design on it. And not to mention all kinds of really good songs, you know. Barrel of a Gun's a real kind of aggressive opener. It's got some really cool interludes on here, like electronic interludes. It's No Good, Useless. Great album from the mid-90s. And then finally, I got another album, Playing the Angel. This is from 2005. Really good album considering it's quite late in their career. Some people don't like this album, but I think this album's brilliant. I think it's the last like really good Depeche Mode album that they did, at least like all the way through, I suppose. Yeah, it's just a personal favourite of mine. I love the track Lillian. It's a really good pop song. Precious is kind of a bit similar to Enjoy the Silence, but it's a really, really good song. I think that charted. The final track, The Darkest Star, is a really good one. Every single song on here is really good, and the electronics are great. It's a new sound for Depeche Mode, you know, moving on from all the previous albums. I think it's great. I think it might be in their top 5 albums even. That might be controversial, but just as a personal favourite, you know? Yeah, I was really glad I was able to pick up those 3 albums. You know, it's 3 incredible albums from 3 completely separate decades, and they reinvented themselves on all of them, and all the other great Depeche Mode albums that I've got. You know, it's good that Depeche Mode had such a you know, great longevity, you know, and they really did reinvent their sound quite a few times and make it really fresh. Next up, I picked up The Band by The Band. This is a reissue. This was a really good deal. This was I think this might have been in the Amazon sales that were on recently. I think it was £20 down from 30. Lovely double album, really thick sleeve. To be honest, I haven't spent too much time with this album, but I do like the song The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. I need to spend more time with this because I haven't listened to it too much, but so far I'm really liking it. And finally, last but certainly not least, picked up Demon Days by the Gorillaz. So I already have this on vinyl. I have the original pressing, but I got this 2018 reissue because the original pressing is slightly inconsistent in terms of the sound. Bits of it sound phenomenal, bits of it sound a bit dodgy, and my copy is a little bit beat up. So I thought, in addition to that, I'd pick up a nice fresh copy. And certain tracks do sound better. And also Dare sounds a lot better. The Dare sounds a bit strange on the original pressing. I'm not sure why. Just that song just sounds like a really bad pressing, but none of the rest of the album, which is quite peculiar. But yeah, this I just got this. I mean, it's one of my favourite albums of all time, so, you know, I could kind of justify a second copy, I suppose. A slightly more consistent sounding copy. So that was it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.